What's the dumbest rule your school ever enforced? My school made it compulsory to wear uniform in online classes. Conservative Christian college. A group of us played Age of Empires one weekend. They didn't like it and called a meeting. Everyone involved got misdemeanors on their records. There was nothing in the handbook about it being against the rules. The only person that didn't get any punishment was the son of the president, even though he was just as involved as the rest of us. Was quite interesting explaining the write-up on my record when I transferred. You got a misdemeanor for what? No slow dances at the prom. My friend nearly got suspended for wearing a trench coat. It was the late 90s. Probably didn't help that he had long hair, was shy, and weird. No leaving the dorm unless it's for a fire alarm. I went to boarding school from the age of 7. That rule meant we couldn't get out of our dormitory to have a wee in the night. We had a plastic tub one of the girls brought in and went in that. Then we had to smuggle the tub to the bathroom in the morning without matron seeing. Stupid bloody rule. Rule: no duct tape on clothing. Reason: some girls thought they could get past the no ripped jeans rule by covering the tears with duct tape. It became a fad and everyone started doing it, so it got banned. A kid in my app literature class found a loophole and made an entire outfit out of red and black duct tape. I mean shorts, a shirt and a jacket and shoes. When the school tried to suspend him, they couldn't because the rule was no duct tape on clothes. It said nothing about clothes made out of duct tape. He won the argument and even wore the outfit a few more times to say "fuck you" to the school and principals. Lol. Different staircases for boys and girls. We once had a rule that we could only go to the bathroom during class. Not in the breaks, only during class. You have to wear your tie all the way home. Some sad bastard teachers would stand on the main road away from the school and try to hand out detentions in presumably their own time. Playing cards at lunch was prohibited because it promoted gambling. They outlawed bracelets because there was an article in a magazine somewhere saying they advertised what sexual acts you were open for based on their color. Then someone tried to outlaw wristwatches for the same reason. Locked the only boys' bathroom because someone wrote on the wall in Sharpie. It wasn't even anything rude or inappropriate either. It was just the word "hi" or something like that. Didn't unlock the door until one boy wet himself and parents threatened to sue. We suddenly one day weren't allowed to stand in circles during recess because, and I quote, we could be dealing drugs. I will add that for the years prior we had been standing in circles no problem. Next recess, we stood in a triangle, cue principal going apeshit. Next day we stood in a square, principal kept us inside for a week. And threatened us all with detentions if we did it again, etc. I believe their idea was open-ended circles so they could see what we were doing. Still stupid. My friend is an administrator at a private school in NJ and the faculty has to sign in and out of the bathroom using Google Sheets. 9 AM, 10 minutes, MF. Toilet paper rationing. This was in 1997/98 BTW. Apparently the high school girls' room was going through too much toilet paper, so the dean, a woman, stood outside the door and distributed a few squares of one-ply institutional toilet paper to us as we went in. If she noticed toilet paper on the floor, our ration got cut down. If we asked for more for bigger jobs, we were told to save it for home. There were several episodes of girls stuck in stalls until friends could beg for more TP because of period messes or unexpected bowel incidents. The dean wouldn't even hand it over. She would go in the bathroom and pass it a few squares at a time over the door. If you didn't catch it as it fell and it landed on the floor, well, that's your fault and you're not getting more. If you used more than she thought necessary, tough luck. Go to class with blood/shit on your body. It took about a week of extremely angry parents coming to the school and calling both the school and the school board, but we finally got our toilet paper back, unlimited. How did we celebrate? Biping her car, of course. Guys were free to wear pants in cold days, but girls had to wear a skirt, no matter how cold it was. If you were caught on your phone, they'd take it until the end of the week. You'd get it back at 3:30 on Friday. Parents went mental and a few even came together and sent bills through for part of the phone bills. They ditched that rule after 2 weeks. It wasn't really the rule that was dumb, but the reason for it. In my last year of high school, the school issued a rule that all students had to wear student IDs. If you didn't, you had to immediately go and pay for another ID. While you can see how many students may have saw this a way to skip class, the reason for this was the school shootings that happened the previous year. The reasoning was that it would be easier to spot who is a student and who is not a student, to then see who has malicious intent. Except that most shooters were students, so. In grade school, we weren't allowed to play on the playground equipment when it snowed. Eventually, we weren't allowed to play with snow or even go near it. I got in trouble for sitting in snow. This was in Minnesota where it snows half the year. Recess basically consisted of milling around the blacktop for 30 minutes. Dumbest rule, zero tolerance for fighting. This meant both the kid who started the fight and the kid who got beat on were both suspended. If the kid who got beat on just took it, he was just sent home for the rest of the day. If he dared to fight back, he was suspended for a week, just like the kid who started the fight. Here's the truly stupid part, the school administrators couldn't explain how this led to more brutal fights. Took all the doors off the men's room bathroom stalls because of vandalism for 2 months. They banned plain red and plain blue shirts. One particular professor at my university would lock the door a minute after class began. If you had to leave to go to the bathroom, you couldn't get back in. Somehow this ancient fossil is still teaching and pulling similar shit. We were not allowed to put our coats on until we were outside. During winter when we would have a storm, we had to go outside in the rain to put our coats on, or face receiving a detention if we put them on in the corridor. No fighting, enforced by punishing the kids who were getting hit. I got a suspension for holding a stick. The phone call with my mom went something like this, only slightly dramatized. School, Mrs. Aquek, your son has been suspended. Mom, oh my goodness, what did he do? He was holding a stick. Did he hit someone with it? No, he was just holding it. Did he threaten to hit someone with it? No, just held it. Did he refuse to put it down when you asked? No, he was very cooperative. So, what did he do wrong? He held a stick. And I should be upset about that? Absolutely, you know we have a zero tolerance policy. Right, well, I'll talk with him. As you might guess, I did not get in trouble at home. My high school decided to ban women's athletic shorts one day, which was ridiculous for many reasons. The next day every girl showed up in athletic shorts, and the rule was removed by second block. Banned all backpacks/bags on campus. Students were expected to somehow carry everything they needed in hand. This was especially challenging if you had an unideal locker placement. No farting in class. They would say, if you need to fart then go to the toilet, but then 9 times out of 10, if you asked to go to the toilet they'd say no. I was wearing a regulation uniform jacket in a classroom during winter that had no heating. The teacher demanded I remove my jacket and I refused, because I was cold. She sent me to the headmistress. So many. You weren't allowed to wear a coat or a backpack, always freezing with tons of books, no card games at all, 5 minutes between classes, sprawling 1-story building barely leaves time to pee. Students must keep their hair short. Went to school during the time where health and safety suddenly started going crazy. They introduced a no contact under any circumstances rule, i.e. no touching another person. We were like 6 or 7 years old. Suddenly one day not only is tag suddenly illegal, but they actually enforced it. I remember one day like 70% of the school's population was pulled off of the playground and made to sit on the floor in the hall for the crime of just playing the games that children play. When I was in junior school, UK boarding school in the 80s, we were not allowed to say okay as it was considered slang and not befitting the young ladies and gentlemen that we should aspire to be. For context, junior school covered ages 5 to 13. We also had to have a comb and a handkerchief on us at all times. On top of that, we weren't allowed to have our hands in our pockets because, it looks slovenly. We weren't allowed to wear thongs. I don't know how they caught people who did TBH. Not really a rule, but the toilet paper holders are outside of the stalls on a wall. So you have to calculate, before taking a shit, how much you need, and hope that it was enough. Don't damage school property sounds reasonable enough, until you get detention for staining a chair after suddenly getting your period. Girls weren't allowed to show their ankles. The dean had a pack of socks in her office she would give the students, and make them wear. Only girls though. This was the 2000s. I got detention for pooping more than 10 minutes, but I had severe stomach cramps and I asked why, and they had no answer. No beads. Apparently they thought beaded jewelry was gang related. Can't be standing around in groups more than 4 gang mentality. Dildos were banned. The school never thought they would have to print those words. You would think it was a given. Until a senior bought 100 dildos and snuck them around the school every day for 2 weeks straight. Zero tolerance just means that if someone starts a fight with you, you fight back as hard as you can. You're going to get suspended for defending yourself anyway, might as well make it worthwhile. Thanks for watching and share your stories. Don't forget to consider the idea to maybe think about potentially subscribing. Peace.